which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our episode Islamic Law Today. And as usual, we have with us Professor Ahmed Ragab Saie. Thank you for being with us. Professor Ahmed Ragab is a professor in several Islamic universities in America and a permanent member in the Fatwa Committee. Professor Muhammad, in the previous episode, we were talking about the political ruling system in Islam. And you mentioned that the political ruling system in Islam is a wonderful system, and you mentioned that they have a kind of sort of the Supreme Council, that it's contained of several fields from different fields, like 5 or 4 members in each field. They are the well-known, the most famous, the most knowledgeable. And those people or those members in the Supreme Council, they will choose the ruler or several rulers or candidates that they can be rulers, and the people will choose them through voting, through whatsoever. Now, first of all, what is the title of this ruler? Is he a prince? Is he a khalifa? Is he a king? Is he president? And how long he will stay in this? Is it a life sentence like the khalifa? As we know in the history, they just die while they are khalifa, or they are president, that they have term and they leave.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ورزقا واسعا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم نسألك أن تجعل أعمالنا كلها خالصة لوجهك الكريم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. فرج الكرب عنا وعن المكروبين، وفرج الهم عنا وعن المهمومين، وفك أسر المأسورين، وأحسن خلاص المسجونين. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تكون للمسلمين في كل مكان عونا ومعينا ونصر ونصيرا. اللهم خذ بيدهم إليك يا رب العالمين، عليك بالظالمين. اللهم ارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وبعد.
Ameen. Ameen.
Islamic system in general, whatever you are choosing from, it is like a beautiful garden, as we said in different maybe occasions. And this system, the ruling system in Islam, political ruling system in the Islamic law, is the same, has very unique organizing system, has very unique and comprehensive keys and very fundamental factors of success to enable to make the one who is in charge of the Muslim state or the Muslim nation to accomplish his mission and to do his job in the best way. You can name the one who is in charge of the Muslim state the way that's fit in our modern maybe time. From Islamic law point of view, it is not necessarily to have a specific title. If you would like to name him as Khalifa, Caliph, or maybe President, or maybe the Prince of Believers, or anything that's fit in his position and does not bring to him some kind of organs, some kind of maybe permanent position, anything to compete with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's status, it is fine from Islamic law point of view. So it is not a big issue, the name we call it. But definitely the name of king, it is not a likable thing in Islam. Like the other name, the king of the kings, it is very dislikable.
Of course.
Yes. Shah or Shahanshah is very dislikable. You like to name him as a president, as the prince of believers, the servant of believers, but real servant, not a fake one.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Okay.
Now the other issue, that how long he stays, should he stay forever, as long as he is good? This is originally the case. When we have the history telling us about these very unique and very special caliphs in Muslim history, Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, we did not have anything from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the sunnah of the Prophet to suggest that he has to stay forever, or to suggest that he has to stay for a period of time. But what happened? They were staying because they were the best at that time. And they finished their term, all of them. Sayyidina Abu Siddiq, he died. Sayyidina Umar, he was killed. Sayyidina Uthman, he was killed. Sayyidina Ali, he was killed. All of them. So
Yes.
they finished their term by death, whether assassination or like normal death. So is it now, from Islamic law point of view, lawful to limit the term of the president, the new president, or the new prince? I found it's possible. It is arguable issue. It is not like definite that we cannot make it as a limited term. So it does go with the very deep viewing to the situation we have, other factors of our time. So what is the best for the Muslim state or the Muslim ummah to have it like as long as he is good, or to have a certain limit of time for his term? Both way it does work with the Islamic law, I believe.
So that means the Quran and the Sunnah did not mention anything regarding the term or the time that he should spend in this position. Therefore, it's open, and it's not un-Islamic to say he will stay for a certain period and that's it.
Yeah, as I said, definitely we don't have a specific verse of Quran Kareem or specific hadith from the Prophet to clearly say that it is not Islamic or it is unlawful to make his term a limited term. So I just made it from Islamic law point of view as an arguable issue. It is up to the time, the factors, circumstances, whatever is good for Muslims to follow the first opinion or the second opinion would be fine with us. But I think that the most important point here in this regard, it is not how long he stays. Is it like till he die or till he shows his disability or disqualification, or he should stay as a certain term? The most important point here in Islamic law regarding this issue, that whatever we are following from or choosing from these two opinions, it has to be accordingly to his work. As long as he is fitting his position and he is doing his job and he is complying with the criteria of being a good ruler, he will stay to finish his term or to stay till he die. But what if he did show disqualification? What if he found out that he is not good for his position? He is disqualified for many reasons. In that case, the Supreme Council will have the authority to impeach him. And we know this law from the West, right?
Yes.
When this happened with President Clinton, and they were trying to impeach President Clinton for a certain issue. So we have this in Islamic law, that if the Supreme Council found that this ruler is not doing his job the right way, he is maybe weak,
Or
as
corrupt.
corrupted person, or he's not a righteous person, anything does disable him or disqualify him, they have the authority to remove him and replace him with someone else. And by the way, this issue of the removal of the regime or removal of the president or ruler, it's not the same issue of going against the ruler. It's two different, totally two different Islamic law issues. So when the Supreme Council they found that this man is not good for his position, they are able to remove him. It is not the issue of going against him. So this is different Islamic law.
Especially that they are the one who chose him to begin with.
Exactly. That's why we say that the people who are qualified or authorized to put him in that position, they are qualified to take him out of that position.
I see.
But in both ways, they are representing the whole people, the whole nation, as if that they are working on behalf of the Muslim Ummah. But it's like real representation to their people, to their nation. Yes.
Okay. Now let's go back a little bit. When they have several candidates, like 5, 3, 6, or whatsoever. Now, how we people, the people, to choose and vote which one is the right person to vote? Is it Islamically correct to have kind of a debate between them, or it's a Western thing that we should stay away from it?
All right.
Because, you know, in the debate, when we look at the elections in the West, they fight against each other, they say things against each other, they tore each other. Is that Islamically correct?
All right. Well, as we said, that if the Supreme Council, they nominate like 5 or 6 or 7 people, all of them, they are qualified, eligible to be president or ruler of this country, of that nation. So the people now, their role, the people, to choose, as we said, the best out of the best. Now, how to make their decision, how to make their choice, they have to be aware of these people. As we said before, that Supreme Court does not choose from unknown people. They have to be very known people, very qualified people. Their expertise, their qualifications, their career, their credibility, their credit, everything. So it's almost, they are known to the people. But now, is it possible, is it lawful in Islamic law to have them make what they call it presidential debate? So every one of them to show his program. What is his view to fixing the country problems or the state problems? Or does he have like a very high potential vision? What is his mission? So if that was the core of the debate, it is Islamically okay. If they go personally to go after each one from personal point of view, it is un-Islamic, it is unlawful. But if they are going on the table to show their opinion, to show their view, their program, their plan, to enhance their state, their country, we have nothing in Islamic law to suggest preventing something like this or make it as a lawful thing. So it is okay from Islamic point of view. As long as they are taking themselves away, stay away from personal issues. As if that you are debating with someone your own opinion. You are respecting the other opinion. And even when you sit in that table, the presidential debate on the Islamic eye or Islamic standard, you have start by saying, well, I'm not the best one, as you know. I did say that a long time ago. I'm not the best of you. Like Abu Bakr Siddiq, he said, when he was taking the position of Khilafah, the leadership, the first thing he said, like others, وَلِيتُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَسْتُ بِخَيْرِكُمْ, being elected or selected or being chosen, I'm not the best of you. This is the first statement for the Muslim president or Muslim ruler to deliver to his people. So, but he was chosen by someone else.
But what if they attack each other regarding some information about the opponent that he did something wrong as far as honesty, being dishonest in certain thing, or saying something but he did something else, like saying he is with a certain law but in fact he voted against this law before. Is that would be considered a personal attack that it's forbidden by Islam, or it's okay to do it in Islam?
Well, this is, as we said, this is the job in the first place of the Supreme Council. They should not bring to the table of nomination someone does have some kind of weakness in his criteria, in his qualifications, in his CVs, in his resume. They have to be very, very careful to choose the best out of the best. So he is clear, as I said.
Okay.
After being screened by the Supreme Council, he is clear. But the whole issue now, does he have better suggestions, better plan, better program, or others they have maybe better? Now it's up to the people to be convinced about this. According to the Supreme Council, it's all of this plan, all these suggestions are welcome, are okay. But now the people, they have to know which is one is more able to, even to be close to them, to be able to deal with them, to be able to accomplish his mission in the best way. So this will be okay from a Islamic point of view.
Okay. We will go for a quick break. I would like to remind our viewers that they can contact us in the second and the third segment at 00202 38 248 or 249, or you can email us at islamiclawtoday@huda.tv. For a quick break, and please stay with us.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
You have questions that bother you. What about issues of concern to you? Would you like to share things on your mind with us? Are you interested in solutions based on an Islamic perspective? Please join me live in Meet Your Advisor every Friday at 9 p.m. Mecca time, here on Huda TV.
Be proactive.
How to be proactive in Islam, how to serve our religion, how to serve our life.
No, we want them to be proactive in matters that are related to their ummah. The true leader, and this is maybe we need to have this, okay, among us as Muslims. The true leader is the one who creates leaders.
So the society at the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave the chance for the children to blossom.
Now who took the reward of this? The initiative of Ali bin Abi Talib. Ali bin Abi Talib took the reward because of his initiative.
How long have you been passive? How much time have you lost in your life because of negativity? Learn how to take conscious control over your life. Set your goals and work to achieve them in an Islamic way.
If you really love your wife, your children, your parents, your people, then you have to do your utmost. You have to do whatever you can in order to invite them to Islam. We are in need for this reminder. The main point is ikhlas, is sincerity, is what I want to get in the hereafter.
Join Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad and his host, Muhammad Abdurrahim, in this inspiring show.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Welcome back. As a reminder, you can contact us at 00202 38 248 or 249, or you can write to us at islamiclawtoday@huda.tv. Before we went to the break, Professor Muhammad Naim Saie was talking about the debating issue between the candidates and how they can do it in an Islamic way and a proper way, and staying away from the personal issues that will be fitting with the Islamic ruling system. Professor Muhammad, what makes the political system in Islam unique and different from any other system in the world?
SubhanAllah, when look at the Islamic ruling system or political Islamic ruling system comparing with other systems, we are not putting down, by the way, what is going on in the West. To be honest with you, people are enjoying having some kind of democracy and a freedom to choose their president, and they are free to say yes or no, or sometimes to accuse him. They are enjoying.
Yes.
Where Muslims, unfortunately, they are just looking forward to have such a great day like this. But we are talking about theoretically how much Islam was more advanced than other systems in this regard. Political ruling system in Islam has a real and a true and a pure freedom of choosing your president. And that means when you are voting for that person who's been chosen by the Supreme Council already, because he's very qualified and he is being chosen as a best out of the best, and your role is to take the best out of the best of the best, maybe,
Yes.
at the end. There's no pressure, there's no other hidden factors to play with your decision. You are free to say yes or no. There's no like special interest. In the West, it is legal to do lobbying. It is legal to have many lobbyists. It is not against the law, because they have a certain interest in choosing that president among the Democratic from a party or maybe Republican parties. They are saying that. In Islam, we don't have this. We are blocking the doors of special interest. President Obama, he was talking about special interest.
Yes.
He was trying his best to close that door, but he just missed the whole issue. How he'd like to be able to maybe block the wind when the door is still opened. So you have to shut the door first. Islam, in a very advanced way, in a very beautiful way, long time ago, he shut the door. He said that everyone is able to choose, and he's free to choose, give his vote. There's no special interest, because you are going to choose that, give your vote. And the meaning of your vote is that you are advising, first of all, yourself, you are advising the whole ummah, you are giving your covenant to the person to be in charge of the Muslim nation. So you are doing a very great act of worshiping toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then toward the rest of the whole ummah. So this is like real freedom. When you said real and pure, it is real, it is fact. Because we have seen in the West how much they could play with the card of the presidential candidate, how much they could affect, how much they could wash the brain of the voters to let them go this way or the other way. And it is legal. It's openly. They are doing that.
Through media or through the money?
Anything. In Islam, we don't have this. Islam said, no, it has to be a pure and real choice up to the people and up to the best interest of the people. This is one issue. Please go ahead.
Okay, there is a question just popped in my head. I remember when I read in the history, they say something called mubaya'ah, mubaya'at al-Khalifa,
Yes.
or the giving the covenant to the Khalifa or the prince that they choose to be the ruler.
Yes.
When it comes to voting, some people will vote for some people will vote for others. Now the one who win, but I did not vote for him, would that be that there is no mubaya'ah between me and him? Or there's no covenant between me and him? Would that be a problem?
No, it's a very good question. This is like some kind of a new method of putting in the position the one who is qualified for that. In the new system we have right now, when we say that it is okay to vote, because we have already qualified persons, people, to be in charge. Our role is to choose the best out of the best.
Yes.
And we know in advance that if that person, I did vote for him, one, he will be my caliph or my president. If the other person, I did not vote for him, he was the one, and he won the election, that means he will be my president. So it's like being understood in advance. Either way, I'll be giving my obedience, my loyalty to whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to be the president of this nation through this system. So it does not go against the mubay'ah in Islam. But as we said, maybe in different occasion, that mubay'ah cannot be from every individual person in the state. You cannot. You cannot bring 100% result of any person. And as I said before, if maybe brought to our time, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, he cannot take 100% of the whole election vote. Some will agree, some will not agree, but the most of the people, it has to be this way. And because the majority of the people, when they choose something, it is very considerable in Islam, in Islamic law even especially. As you remember, in Islamic law we have, they call it the majority opinion among Muslim scholars.
Yes.
It have very, very heavy weight in Islamic law. Because when you are having some kind of arguable issues, and you found out that most of the people, they go this way, you feel that this is most likely the best opinion among other opinion. So if you have 5 persons, have 5 candidates, 5 nominees for the presidential position, and the people, most of them, they go for one person, you said that most likely he is the best of the best, inshallah ta'ala.
So can you wrap it up? What is the definition of voting in Islam then?
Voting sometimes comes with the meaning of advising, when you are choosing someone among others. And some comes with the issue of I am giving him my loyalty, my covenant. Sometimes comes with the issue of I am giving my own opinion in an arguable issue. So when it comes to the voting for the presidential candidate, you are giving your covenant to that person. At the same time, you are advising yourself and telling everyone, I'm advising you by choosing that person to choose him, because in my humble opinion, he's the best of them to serve your own interest.
Okay. Now that will lead us to several questions that some people asked me to ask you about it. For example, is it mandatory to have an Islamic state to apply the Islamic law?
So if you'd like to go in the field of application of the Sharia,
yes,
it would be like a big issue, as we said before.
Yes.
Can I just, before answer these questions, just very quickly remind myself and our beautiful audience that Islam is very proudly claiming that he is among the first legislators to develop and innovate the presidential job, and for that person to be dedicated for his position, so they have to have a certain income. That was 14th century ago, when the Muslims have chosen Abu Bakr Siddiq to be their caliph or their prince.
Yes.
They found him the next day going to the market. Where are you going, Ya Abu Bakr? He said, I'm going to the market. Why? Because I have to run after my family. I have to have certain income. He said, and who is going to be dedicated for the Muslims' interest? All of us will be covering your expenses, and you go to your mission as a servant, as a prince, as a caliph for the whole. So, and they start to appoint a certain amount of money as a salary.
Yes.
So obviously at that time, and I remember from the history, it's like very authentic. After maybe 1 year or 2 years, the life expense has been jumped up very highly. He came to the Supreme Council saying, well, as you know, notice that it is very expensive right now, the life expenses. I want you to raise, have some kind of enhancing my income. And they did. It was so beautiful.
Yes.
Very unique and very natural and very simple. And Muslims, they were among those, they were very advanced in their thought and their vision, how to manage their political ruling system.
Now, let's go to my question. Is it applicable to apply the Islamic law without establishing an Islamic state?
Let us start this very important issue by saying this. What is the meaning of application of the Sharia to the Muslim scholars' understanding? Some, they believe that application of the Sharia means you are praying, you are fasting, and you are giving some charity, you are visiting some relatives, you are doing some good work. They did not mean that, the Muslim scholars. They mean, by saying this, we have two sections in the Islamic law. One section does not require for its applications to have state and authority. Everyone is able to apply and comply with these Islamic law issues without having state or authorities.
Like what?
Going to the masjid, going to the Hajj, making Umrah, fasting in Ramadan. This day, maybe Monday or Thursday, or maybe going to that home to visit some orphan people, visit that old lady to help her, or maybe her, or maybe to help your neighbor. A lot of things you are able to do it, or not to commit adultery. You don't have to have state and authority to say, I cannot, but to commit adultery. Going to that casino, you don't have to have a state and authority to not go to that place. So you are able to stop doing evil things or doing for the good things without having state and authorities. But we have other section that you cannot have it applied. You cannot see it applicable without having state and authority. And that section is to serve the first section all the time. Whenever you have two sections in Islam or Islamic law, both of them, they have to work together to serve each other. And just like showing the beauty of this deen, the beauty of this Islamic law, because it's from Allah, originally, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the second section, well, you cannot have this application without having state and authorities. Like what? Can you declare war against other state without having state and authority?
Of course not.
You cannot. Right?
You mean a war that is to defend the religion itself, Islam?
Just the war of war in the United States of America, who declares the war?
The president.
The president, right? So you have to have a state and authority, right?
Yes.
You cannot punish someone because he did steal something, or maybe he did rape a woman, God forbid, by yourself. It has to be going to the court, the judge, and ruling, and to be indicted, and then to be sent to the certain punishment or anything like this, right?
Yes.
So you have to have a state and authorities. You cannot make agreement or treaties with different countries or a state without having state and authorities. You cannot send ambassadors or diplomatic representative to this country without having state and authorities. You cannot force the good things and prevent the evil things unless you have state and authorities. If you said, well, it's up to me to drink wine, not to drink wine, yes. But what if someone, he decided to open a bar, open a liquor store, or maybe open like casinos or gambling places, or maybe to bring some girls or ladies from outside to make some dancing parties? Who is able to force to prevent the evil things in the country unless you have a state and authorities. So if you look at the issue of forcing good things and preventing the evil things, you cannot having this unless you have a state and authorities. To solve any dispute, any conflict between two husbands or two partners or two neighbors, you cannot have it, you cannot solve it without having state and authorities. Otherwise, people, they kill each other, they claim anything, and they could steal the money of each other, and it's going to be like chaos, as they said. So you have to have state and authorities.
I see. We will go for a quick break. Please stay tuned.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
In your standpoint of view, are there specific or certain criteria to choose your spouse or a partner, to marry or not to marry? Maybe that's the question. Do we revise the quality of performance of our treatment between the family members as fathers or mothers? As they say usually, it's not what you say, it's how would you say it. Wouldn't you like to be a good storyteller for your kids? Neurobiologically speaking, child abuse and emotional trauma causes scars in the brain of the child, and this might be not easily healing. What's the exact job description of a father? Is it clothing, payments and feeding, or other important things? Well, I think the job description of a father is merely giving him love and care, self-confidence, giving him sense of security, and checking for the points of strengths to stress on them. What about potty training and its planning? Oh yeah, actually, it's a state, it's a condition. Fatherhood is not a body or a person, it's a state. Are you a good or skillful designer for the policy and the long-term plans of the life of your kids? Join us every Wednesday for Family Issues.
Dear viewers, Hoda programs can be watched in the English section of the in-flight entertainment directory on board all Saudi airline flights, domestic and international. Sit back, relax and enjoy watching Hoda's entertaining and enlightening shows on your trip. Hoda wishes you a safe and successful journey. Hoda, a light in every home.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Welcome back. Before we went to the break, Professor Muhammad, you were talking about that there are some things in the Sharia that needs an Islamic state to be applied, and there are things that doesn't need an Islamic state to be applied from the Sharia. But the question that some people asked, what makes people are afraid from the Sharia law? When they talk about the Islamic state, immediately they are afraid of the application of the Sharia law, and you hear many criticism about this. What makes them afraid from the Sharia law?
It's illusion. It's propaganda sometimes. It is lack of education. Some kind of mixed thought and philosophies or ideologies. It is lack of knowing their Islamic law, lack of Muslim scholars' effort to approach the whole Ummah about this issue, because we spend maybe tens of years without having the application of the Sharia, and we are always trying to hang with the others, maybe system, believing that we don't have the keys of success and leadership or civilization in this life unless we hang up with some other people. But let us say this about the fear and the concern coming out of the people, some people, about application of the Sharia.
Unfortunately, sometimes from Muslims themselves.
Yes, indeed. I'm not worried about non-Muslims. It's like obvious for non-Muslim to be
Afraid from the unknown.
Yes.
Yes.
Or has some reservation about this issue. But talking about Muslims, why Muslims? Some Muslims, they are afraid or they have some concern about this. If we finished saying that we have a special section that requires state and authority, and all people, they agreed on this because it's logical. You cannot, as I said, force evil, preventing evil things or force good things unless you have authorities. You cannot have the application of declaration of the war or stopping the war or making treaties or agreement without having state and authorities.
Yes.
You cannot ban, like, God forbid, gambling and prostitution unless you have a state and authorities.
Yes.
So it's like obvious, it has to be agreed among others. If now we look deeply on this section, what this section really does represent? If we know that first section, people are agreed on it. They said, yes, first section does not require state and authorities. All of us, we are doing it. We are going to the mosque, we are performing pilgrimage, Umrah, or fasting Ramadan, doing good things. But if we look at this other section very deeply, what we find in this section, we find it's like a group of packages. It's a complete package. Each one of them does represent its own unique system. Like you have political system in this section,
Yes.
as we talk about ruling, caliph or president or supreme council, voting, all these that require state and authorities.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we have economical system, we have social system, you have criminal system, you have educational system. So this, the second section, does have different system. And if now we talk about each system of these systems individually, just to make comparison between what we have as a Muslims and what others they have as man-made system, all Muslims, they have to agree. And I think all of them, they agreed already before even we start talking about this, because they are believers. They believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They believe in their Islam. But as I said, lack of education. Can we compare our economical system in Islam with other system? Can we say that the others' economical system is better than Islamic economical system? Especially in these days when many of experts in economy, they admitted and they announced that the Islamic economy system is better and much better than the system we have, especially when we have this crisis.
Yes.
In the West, in the East, about the banks, about the properties problems, because they found out that they have properties sold to the people but does not have its value. There's no cash, there's liquidity in the market. Why Egypt and some other Muslim and Arab countries, they were less in that crisis? Because what you see in the market in the properties, most of it is belong to the people. It's not owned by the banks. It's not like a debt or will be loan. So they admitted that Islamic economic system is much better than others. And this is Allah's system, subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ رِبَا وَيُرْبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will enhance, will lead the sadaqat, the charities, and the pure charities to be grown. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will demolish
The usury.
The usury. And that's what happened exactly. So if you compare Islamic economy system and others, all of them, they have to agree, no, Islamic economy is much better, because this is by experience, by the history, by the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, it is no comparison even at all.
But of course, when they use this propaganda, unfortunately, they take some video clips from what happened in Taliban, when they take this women and they bury them and they cut off their heads and beheaded them. And all this, of course, they are fueling this propaganda. And at the same time, this is something that we have to answer them and reflect them, make them reflect. if you see that Islam is not the right religion, or the Islamic law is not the right thing, then why you are afraid for the Muslim countries to apply it on themselves? If it's a failure, then you will prove your point.
Yes, I agree with you, but this is from the side of those that they are not believing in Islam in the first place, right?
Yes.
But I'm talking now about the Muslims themselves. I'd like to convince Muslims first to be able to deliver this message to others, right? So if you talk about Islamic economic system, it's much better.
Yes.
It's no comparison, as we said. If you talk about criminal system, and now people are talking about establishing a criminal system that we have to stone adulterer, we have to cut the hand of the thief, and all of this. Well, it's been proven that the percentage of the crimes in all societies, they have man-made law. It's always going higher and higher.
Yes.
They are very advanced nations, very civilized from materialistic point of view countries. There's no doubt they are superior. Britain, France, Italy, Sweden, or United States of America, they are very civil, very advanced state and countries. We lived there and we know that. And they are people are enjoying this superiority. But percentage of crimes are going higher and higher in every field. Raping, killing, drugs, trafficking, human being trafficking, they call it the new slavery, everything going higher and higher.
Yes.
In Muslim countries, where they are very backward still countries compared with others, they have
Even
less
economically, they
Yes.
are poor.
they are less percentage in the crimes because they have what's been left over from their Islam, from their Islamic law, from their Islamic teachings, still working out with them.
Yes, we have a caller, Abdullah from Egypt.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'd like to thank you both and all Huda team for this wonderful show.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Jazakallah.
Sheikh, is it permissible for Muslims to elect a non-Muslim leader?
Yeah.
Would you please repeat the question again?
Okay. Is it permissible for Muslims to elect a non-Muslim leader?
I see.
Yeah.
Jazakumullah khairan.
وإياكم إن شاء الله.
He's asking, is it permissible for a Muslim country to elect a non-Muslim leader?
I would like to just remind the viewers that I did finish already, alhamdulillah, the book, a special book about the Egyptian revolution and others revolution going on right now from Islamic law point of view. And he talked in details about all these issues, and including the issue of the Muslim president or caliph. And I mentioned that book that unanimously among Muslim scholars, that one of the conditions to enable to qualify that person to be the Muslim leader or ruler, he has to be a Muslim.
He must be Muslim.
He must be Muslim. There's no doubt among Muslim scholars.
Okay.
Yes, unanimously.
Okay.
I was just going to say very important things about the. I forgot. Maybe you could refresh.
We were talking about when we were talking about the system, that the crime in the West are higher than the crime in the Muslim countries because application of the Islamic law.
So we said that even in the Muslim countries, they are still not advanced, not civilized, not very superior compared to others. But the percentage of the crimes are less than others because what's been left over from their Islam and their teachings. I would like to take this opportunity and present this very comprehensive Islamic rule I did developed the other day regarding of applying the criminal system in the Muslim state. Let us assume that tomorrow we have a Muslim leader, Muslim ruler, and he declared the state to be Muslim state and the Sharia to be applied. Is it, from Islamic point of view, permissible or lawful or okay to have someone next day, he did steal something, to cut his hand?
This is a good question.
Is it permissible? Is it applicable? It is Islamic to have the next day we declare the Islamic state, Muslim state, To have someone who did commit adultery to kill him, stoned him? Big question, right?
Yeah, very big.
I did state in that book this very comprehensive rule. I said, as long as you don't have the environment, the atmosphere to create the reasons of preventing the crime, you cannot apply the punishment of that crime. So,
would you please say it again?
As long as you don't have the environment, the atmosphere to create the reasons of preventing committing the crime, you cannot apply the punishment for that crime.
And that would be the best way to end this episode. I would like to thank Professor Muhammad Naim Saie for being with us and sharing his knowledge. And inshallah, we will meet you again next week. So please keep in touch with us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray. As the best of His creation, only us did He deem. This for us is honor, this high esteem. His qudrat it is that cause winds to blow. He gives us provision so that we may grow.